Okay, so we move from machine to humans finally, back to humans. Um, okay, this is a big story. And you may say, well, why is it? Because of what's coming up later on. So, HBO Max, I love HBO Max. I watched the whole Last of Us series on there. I've watched The Batman. I've watched several other films. And everybody knows there comes a time when films just leave. It's you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and it says leaving in or leaving at August, April 15th, and they'll list the movies. So this is fascinating because so there is a lot of stuff leaving HBO Max. And you say, well, why that is that relevant? Because let me read you the article, and I'll let you know. So this comes from the Wrap again, and it says over 100 popular films are leaving HBO Max at the end of the month, but luckily you'll have the whole month to stream them. This includes cinema classics like Ben Hur, the winningest film in Oscar history, tied with Titanic and Aviator, Gene Kelly's American Paris, Cabaret the classic, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Citizen Kane, which is number one of any film. The AFI Institute has always rated it number one ever. Of course, um, Orson Welles made that when he was, I believe, 25 or 26. In King Kong, popular films like The Bodyguard, Dumb and Dumber, Friday, The Fugitive, Interview with the Vampire, Menace to Society, Purple Rain, Seven, Space Jam, and Terminator 2 will stop streaming on August 30th. And many other popular franchises, including The Bourne, Expendables, and Lethal Weapon, will be leaving the scene. So, and it gives a list. So this is pretty big because here's the thing: I counted. There are 186 television and films leaving HBO Max at the end of this month. And so it's not just those. So I went through and I looked at quite a few of these. Okay, now I listed a couple for you. So, I mean, I'm just going to list off a couple others. Creed is leaving. Creed 2, which only came out, was, of course, the third one just came out. Uh, The Bourne Supremacy, The Bourne Identity, all of the Expendables, um, Shawshank Redemption's leaving, I Am Legend, of course, they made mention of that, all the Lethal Weapons, okay, um, Point Break, the original with Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves, Poltergeist, Purple Rain, Ready Player One, which I loved from Steven Spielberg, and it goes on, as I said, goes on and on and on and on. Taxi Driver. So those are just a little nugget. 186 of that. And you go, wow, really? That's crazy. And I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think because it's like, I love these movies. Now, but I'll say one thing though. This is why physical media is so incredibly, incredibly, incredibly important. Because if you don't have it on streaming, if you don't own it, you can't watch it. So this is where I think, and HBO is dumping, Max is dumping a lot of these for a certain reason. Well, to clear up server space, but moreover for something else I'll be talking about in a couple of minutes. And yeah, so I really think that, you know, I would just say this: go read the article, and if there's movies there that you can get, go get them because these will not be on streaming at the end of this month. And I'm going to be missing that. I mean, Terminator 2, I remember Terminator 2 that, like it was yesterday. Purple Rain is another great one. All of these movies. So, Yeah. But it's amazing. When I saw the list, I was flabbergasted because I couldn't believe how much room they were actually clearing up. Um, so what do you think about this, guys? Do you think that this is normal for HBO or any other streamer to do? Which movies out of that list would you like to see back on there? Okay, would you go buy it on a DVD or a Blu-ray if you couldn't watch it there? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll get back to everybody. Um, so we have one last story, and Jeremy Fauser actually came in. Thank you, Jeremy, for coming in and watching. He says, all the movies you have on the screen, I'm not worried about. They've been released multiple times on DVD and Blu ray. I'm more concerned about the more recent stuff specifically made for streaming. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that, you know, it is interesting to me. I'll say this, Jeremy. It is interesting to me that you see movies that have come out in the past 4 or 5 years, okay? I mean, a movie like Shawshank Redemption, I'm not worried about, okay? And you're right, okay? Or T2 or Lethal Weapon or one of those. But it's fascinating to me how, like, Ready Player One, for example, that was only released 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and it's already gone off streaming. Creed 2, 2018. It's like, whoa. I mean, of course, the third, it's more in the light right now because of of course Creed 3 was just released in March. So it's one of those things where it's interesting. So um yeah. I no, I tend to agree with you because there'll be re-releases and DVDs and Blu-rays and everything else, and you'll be able to get those in no time. So